So if you look well, you see that I have some materials here which I've been making use of. Fast forward to paper, straw mat, and Sinamay molds which I've covered with nylon already to prevent water from getting in touch with it. I have my thumb tag that I'm going to use to secure the molded Sinamay. Right, I have my scissors. Of course, scissors is for cutting, and the marking chalk. Either I use my marking chalk or I use my marker. Though I wouldn't make it obvious so that it wouldn't show a lot of color on the fabric. And here is my stiffener, right, and water for mixing the stiffener and for dampening or moisturizing the paper and Sinamay. And because I'm not going to stick to Sinamay alone, I will make use of these fabrics, right? I'll make use of these fabrics for my painting work. Alright. So I'm going to measure out the diameter of the mold. This is what will enable you get the appropriate measurement of the fabric and the Sinamay or paper mat that you're going to make use of. Look at the way, because I'm going to bring in a particular inch inside to secure it on the block. So I'm going to take 1 inch inside, 1 inch inside, right, 1 inch inside, and I think 1 inch inside as well. So it's 11. This particular mold has 11, right? 11. So with this 11, I'm going to cut out the paper, the fabrics that I'm going to make use of, right? So I keep my mold aside. I come to my Sinamay. Like I said, I'm going to use only 1 sheet of Sinamay because I'm making use of other fabrics. I have 11 by 11, right? I have 11 by 11. I'll keep aside. Remember, I'm still taking measurements of the things I want. So this is the paper mat. I still have my 11 by 11, 11 inches long and 11 inches wide. That's the length and the width, right? So I'm still going to take up this side 11 inches as well, right? Then my marker comes in. See where my marker comes in? So I'm going to cut out the exact place my marker comes in. Okay, and same thing applicable here. So I'm going to work with this. Remember, I folded it, so I'm going to cut it out. So I have 2 sheets, right? The Sinamay and the fabric. So the fabric also, I'm going to cut 11 by 11. I still have to fold the fabrics into 2 because I'm going to have this green color inside and the outer part of the Fascinator. Okay, so I still take my measurement at 11 by 11, right? And 11 by 11, 11 by 11, and I mark. So I'm going to cut or slit into 2 because I am not going to put them together the way it is. Alright, so I want to dampen or moisten the Sinamay with water, ordinary water please. So I will just fold, and as I'm folding, I just want to wet it so that it will be able to be manipulated. If it's stiff, you cannot manipulate it. If it's stiff, you cannot manipulate it. So I will just squeeze out the water, allow the water to at least dampen it a bit so that I can manipulate it. Okay, the same thing applicable to the paper mats. Sorry, I would have done all of them together, but the cup is small, so I'm doing it bit by bit. So, but it's just the same thing I'm doing. But this one now, this is the paper. You will not put everything in water. Just put this side, put this side, just put water a bit to bring it out, right? Just to bring it out, just to soften it a bit, because it's not like the Sinamay. So I will keep aside my water, right? So the next thing is to moisten or lubricate our block. The essence of lubricating our block is to make it to be easy for the base to come out after blocking. You know, the stiffener is like a gum. It's like a gum. So in fact, it's just a gum, nylon, plastic, whatever. If the oil is not there, it will be hard to pull out. And at the end of the day, you see that your heart or your molded heart gives one funny shape apart from the shape of the block which you have used. So it's important you always lubricate your mold, I mean the nylon or your covered mold, so that it is easy for the product or the molded fascinator base to come out easily without stress. All right, I have lubricated it, and it's time to do what? Start blocking proper. I will bring out my pins or my thumb tack. I think you've seen this before. This is what I mean by thumb tack. During our introductory classes, I made mention of thumb tacks for blocking. Okay, because of the stiffener, I wouldn't be taking much water, because I found out that most stiffeners these days are not really what they used to be. Yeah, so you have to be conscious of the kind of stiffener, as in the way you mix your stiffener, okay. So this is it. You see, before it used to be very thick, but these days it's not like, you see, it's not the way it used to be again. So if you had poured plenty water, I would have messed up everything. So you stir properly, and make sure there are no lumps. You stir properly, right? You keep aside and be careful it doesn't spill. So I cover the remaining parts and I take aside. All right, remember I told us that I'm going to be working with 2 sheets of the fabric. Okay, so this is it. This is my first layer. This is my second layer. Second layer, which is the paper mats. Look at the tricks here. Because I am working with a particular fabric that would not be having a stiffener on its surface, I am applying my stiffener in between the pieces, the sheets of the fascinator base. With my brush, I make sure I rub evenly so that I will get every part of it. Please do not manage your stiffener. We are still talking about the nature of stiffeners these days. So I do not manage my stiffeners. That's why my work comes out very fine. When the fascinator base dries and is hard, it gives you that satisfaction. But when you try to manage your stiffener, the work is not good. In fact, I will share an example with you, an experience I had some time ago, where I was trying to manage my stiffener, and I really regretted ever molding that, because everything just came out the way the paper was. It's just like I didn't even add a stiffener to the work, and the molded base did not have any weight, and it was just all messed up. So that's why I don't like managing my stiffener. Okay, so you see here, I've rubbed evenly with my brush, okay, and I'm taking the other sheets, that's my Sinamay, okay, my Sinamay. You can leave Sinamay, but me, I just like adding Sinamay to my works because there's this durability it gives my work. Yes, so I pull down, I adjust to ensure that they fit in properly. Okay, I'll just rub small of little of the stiffener on the last surface before I will lay the cloth, that's the fabric, which I'm going to use to cover. Actually, I'm still going to cover with a lace fabric, but in any case, the doll face fabric will still show if it's stained on the lace fabric, because there are still openings where the doll face fabric can still be seen. So if it's messed up with stiffeners, it's still going to show somehow on the lace fabric, and trust me, it's not going to give you a neat job. Okay, so there we go, through here, you can rub with your hands, you can massage with your hands, you can rub with your brush, whichever way. Because I don't want to mess up my pen, that's why I normally use my hand gloves, so that the moment I just finish blocking, I pull off the hand gloves and go back to whatever I was doing. So this is it, right? I'm going to add the last sheet, which will cover the work. Good. I am not going to rub stiffener here again. Okay, and then I will take it up the way it is. I will pin northwest, east and south. Okay, you secure the 4 cardinal points. The essence of this is for you to have the fabrics, the Sinamays whatsoever, at the exact places they are supposed to be. And before you take up the 4 cardinal points, ensure that the 4 sides are equal, so that you won't miss out on any of them and then start struggling with the other at the end of the day. So I've pinned my 4 cardinal points. In case your block or the thing you're using is hard, that's where your hammer comes into place. Okay, so I have been able to secure the 4 cardinal points. Okay, I will now start grabbing it, if I grab, I will pin. Remember, I'm grabbing it inside. If I grab, I will pin. If I grab, I will pin. If I grab, I will pin. You know, this thing is thick because I have so many layers or sheets, so it has to be thick. That's why it's not for beginners. It is for people who have been in the system for long, who are already used to the stress and the energy it requires. So that's what I'm going to do until everything is coming like this. Alright, I'm through blocking. You can see some can trim out the excesses, some do leave it like this, right? So it depends on what you want. But it's advisable you trim the excesses so that there will be space for air to penetrate and dry it very well. So I'll cut out the excesses. After cutting out the excesses, I will not take it to the sun to dry. Okay, this is it. I'll not take it to the sun to dry. It depends on how many hours. 6 hours is enough for it to dry properly. That's if there is a very high sun that will dry it. So that will be the end of our class, of our training here. The next one, we start the embellishment process of this one. Thank you so much. Please kindly subscribe to my channel at UC's Coordinations. I love you guys. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for what you are doing with your support, your patronage. I love you guys. Bye.